Hi guys, welcome to ET Land. Today we are going to talk about a game changer front-end software which is called Playnite. So I've heard many people saying that they don't like using PC handhelds. Windows PC handheld because it is very clumsy. They hate the interface, and they think it is a lot easier to use when it comes with Linux and Android, stuff like that. But that's actually not the case, and you just have to know that Playnite is a free software and it handles all platforms, including Epic Games, Android, other emulators such as PS2 emulator, PS3 emulators, and WiiU emulators that may not open directly if you use other platform handler or any front end software, but on Playnite you can open them directly and it handles all platforms pretty and simple. There are many types of theme, and I'm using a PS5 like theme. And in this video, I'm going to help you to set up all platforms that you may need for Playnite so that you can gain a great experience on using your PC handheld. I'm also planning to make a video on how to make better use of your Windows handheld, how to use all those shortcuts and some convenience features that you need in order to avoid the Windows interface. I know it's very annoying and you can actually avoid that. So I will talk about that in my future video, but in this video I am going to make a complete tutorial on Playnite. First of all, let's head to the Playnite official site. You can access that from the link in my description box. So when we scroll down, we can find the download button and click it for downloading the Playnite software. Now we have our software and we can double click it to install. So there are some options. You can choose the path where you want to install, so click browse and choose the path you want to install. You can also click portable if you want to make it installed on a hard drive. So if you are planning to move it to another computer, you should probably use the portable option. And you can also click Steam or Epic Store, other game store that you have installed on your PC. Here I'm choosing Steam and Epic Store. So the next thing you do is to import the games from Epic Store and Steam. So if you have not installed Epic Store or Steam on your computer, you have to authenticate it. But if you have already done that, you don't have to authenticate it. You just have to connect your account and import all those games on it and click finish, and it will automatically do the things for you. So I only have 3 games from Steam here, so they will automatically be imported to Playnite. And by clicking this square button, you can change the view in the desktop mode of Playnite. In order to get the console-like feeling, we have to go to settings. First, because we are actually importing games, make sure we choose the download metadata after importing games. Second, launch Playnite when you start your computer. And third, we are not going to choose it now, but we will have to choose launch in full screen mode so that when we turn on our computer, it will automatically turn into something I show you in the very beginning of this computer. Next, we are going to look at add-ons. So head back to the official site, we can see there is an add-on tab. It is actually something like some extra functions that you can add to Playnite, and those functions are actually very important. So I have a few things that I suggest you to install. First of all, I can show you how to install the add-ons. So you click download, and then there will be a pop-up if you want to open your software or not. So click yes and then go back to Playnite. There will be a pop-up, click yes and okay, then you will be able to install the add-ons. So if that's the only one you want to install, you can click yes to reboot the Playnite so that it can function. But if not, if you have a few other add-ons you want to install, then you can click you do not want to restart. So Wikipedia, metadata, extra metadata. Here I have several things that I installed. So if you want to look at what I've installed, you should pause the video. The skin I'm using is reskinned PS5. So you can find those skins in at the bottom of add-ons. There are two types of themes. The first one is for Windows mode. The second one is for full screen mode. If you want console-like experience, make sure you find the skins for full screen mode. I'm using the full screen mode reskin PS5 theme. We'll go through how to apply and set up the skins in the later part of this video. So for the time being, we just have to know where to download and where to find it. Okay guys, so now we are back on my computer that has already set up all the things. First of all, in order to play emulated games, we have to install our own emulator, and for most of the games, we can use Retroarch, but in order to get a better performance, some of them needed some separate individual emulator. And for Android, of course, we can install Android on Windows 11, but it would be better for us to install BlueStack because we have to map the keys for some games and is easier to manage the game. So for Android, we are using BlueStack, and for 3DS, we are using Citra, and for GameCube and Wii, we are using Dolphin emulator. For NS, we are going to use Ryujinx here, but the setup for Yuzu will be the same. And then for the next one, also for PC games, other than Epic Store, Steam, I suggest there will be some non-Steam games that you just run from your exe execution files, and we can actually import those files to Steam and then launch the non-Steam game with the Steam controller profile that we added. And why we are going to do that, because if we are going to stream our game from the PC or the PC handheld to my phone, for example, it will be more beneficial and easier to manage if those games goes through Steam. So I'll talk about how to do that later. And for Vita 3K, which is the emulator for PS Vita, unfortunately we cannot launch each game individually, so the only thing we can do is to launch Vita 3K from Playnite, and then we can launch the games from there. And for PS2, we are going to use PCSX2, and of course for PS3, we are going to use our PCS3, and for WiiU, we are going to use Cemu. So that's pretty much about the emulators that we need in order to play each system. And before adding the games, we have to head to the settings. So we press this controller icon and go to here. So before adding games, we can see there are emulated games. We have to set up the emulator first. So we go to library and then configure emulators. Okay, so you see I've set up a few emulators here already. I did talk about BlueStack for Android, but we are not going to set that here. All we are going to set up is for the regular emulators. So it's pretty simple, and you don't even have to get the correct name. Here, name can be random. You just have to go to browse and then click the folder where you install your emulators. So here I installed it in the documents, and then here is the Cemu emulator. So you just point it to where the exe file is. So that will be this folder, and then click select folder, and then you can here, this is most important, you have to click the menu and find the correct emulator. So this is Cemu, and therefore we click Cemu here. For the built-in profile, we don't have to touch anything, and it will automatically show you that it is associated with WiiU, and then we can save. Of course, we can download emulators here, but it will be easier if we download it separately. The same logic can be applied to Citra, to other emulator other than Citra. The same logic can be applied to Dolphin, EPSXE, which is for PS PlayStation emulation, but I'm not using it. It's here anyway. And for PCSX2, which is the same thing, RPCS2, CS3, RPCS3 for PS3 emulation, and then for Ryujinx as well. So these are using the same method. We just go to the installation file, click the folder here, and go to the correct directory, just like here, and then click select folder and click save. That will be the case. We don't have to do anything. However, for Citra, the location where you installed your Citra is a little bit tricky. So in general, you go to the user and your username, app data, local Citra, and select the correct exe folder. So I will paste this location in the description box for your reference, and you will be able to find your Citra exe there, because the location is a little bit different from the others, and you have to be careful of that. So other than Citra, the thing we have to look at is Retroarch. Retroarch is rather simple. We do the same thing. We find the correct path for the installation of Retroarch. So I just put it in my documents as well. And for here is a list of the cores. You have to install the cores within Retroarch before you go to Playnite. And if you have installed them, you will see a list here, but if not, you can't find them here. So these are the things, are the emulators that you have to set up before adding the games. Okay, so let's go back to Android. I mentioned we have to install BlueStacks first. So if you have any question about BlueStack installation, just look it up online and it will be very easy. My suggestion is to set it as default to run as administrator, because sometimes it may crash if you don't run as administrator. So make sure you do that. It is actually very easy. you can open the file location where you can find BlueStack, right click, properties. Then you go to advanced, run as administrator, and it will keep you running as administrator. So I didn't do that on this PC, but it will be better for you to do so. Okay, so in order to install Android games, we have to do it manually. This is different from any other platform. So we can look at the actions first. So here are two things. This is where we install our BlueStack and where the player is. So I'll put down this path in the description box as well. And we will use this to set up the new game. So okay, I will just copy this one first. Okay, and there is nothing special. Okay, so head to the controller icon, add game manually. So let's say, let's just put it randomly. Magical. Girl, I don't remember the correct name of the game, but anyway. So platform, we have to set it. Actually is here because I've already added, but Android is not one of the category of the platform. We have to type it manually. Android, click it. If you have already typed it once, you'll have it. Okay, so here we are good to go. And then for media, this is where we find our cover image and background image. We will do it again after that, but we can also find it here. So for example, I'm using this one. And okay, this one. Okay, great. We are not adding link, installation file, no. So we add actions. The name is not very important. So here is the path of BlueStack, and the next thing we have to know is the path of the shortcut. So how do we do that? We go to the properties of the shortcuts, target. We copy the link of the target. Okay. Paste. And that should be it. Okay, let's change the name to the correct one. Magireko. Okay. That should work. Save. Okay, let's click it. Okay, BlueStack start up. The game starts. And that's the idea. So I'm not going to run the game, but that's the idea how you play your Android games. Okay, so we have talked about how to add the emulators, and the next step will be to add our emulated games. So we click the add emulators games, and then we click add scanner. then we click scan with emulator. So here are the emulator that we have set up. For example, if we are adding GameCube game, we click here and then we click whether it is GameCube or Wii. So since we are adding GameCube, we click Nintendo GameCube and then override platform. This is necessary. So we will find GameCube, click it. We don't even have to select this. And then next we have to select scan folder. So here we direct it to where we place our ROMs. For example, I place it here, then I will select folder, and you can exclude patterns from scanning. So if you don't want it to scan some of the games, you can click here, and then you can also save as auto scan configuration. So if you add any new ROMs in the future, you can just set it up. So for example, new games, and then you can click start scan. So since I do not have any new games here, there will be nothing. Okay, so let's talk about how to add games for Retroarch. Okay, here we go back to add games, and then we emulated games. So if you have already set up the auto scan profile, you can add scan automatically for updates. But in terms of adding new game for the first times, we have to add here, go to scanner, and then we go to Retroarch profile. Now we can select the cores. Now I'm going to demonstrate GBA, so I select MGBA as my profile. You can select the one you want, and then the platform that I'm going to override, of course, is Game Boy Advance, and then I pick the folder. Okay, so whether you want to set up the auto scan configuration or not, I'm not going to do it here. So let's start scanning. Okay, so here is a new game. It will come up directly if you have the new games, and for example, if this is your first time to scan, you get a bunch of files here. So you just get import, and that will be it. Okay, so that's basically what we do for Retroarch. And then okay, let's go to another thing. So for Ryujinx here, this is what we select. I'm trying to avoid saying that name because of the ninjas. Okay, so scan folders. Okay, now we have this here. So I want you to be aware of one thing. When we have DLCs and updates, for example, this is the update, we have to uncheck it. So we have to uncheck it twice or once. These are not the things we want because we already have the game, so it will be duplicated. These things are set in the emulator, so we do not need these things, and we will have to remove them from the checkbox. If you click import, it will import it for us. So if we go down to NS, we get the new games. So some of them already imported with metadata, but some of them they do not have. So we click our mouse right click and then click edit. You can click F3 if you want. And then we go to media. So we actually did it once for the Android. If you want to find the cover image, it's very easy. Click this mark, you can go to search directly from Google. If you already have the image file, you can click plus to add a file. If you have the link, you can click this one to paste the link so it will display. But I think most likely we do not have the cover image, so click here. And it will automatically search with the name that you already set up for the game. So for example here I have this one, and then for the background image, okay, so background image will only be displayed in the full screen mode, so you do not have it in desktop mode, but you will find it useful if you use the full screen mode. Okay, so that's it. It is very easy to edit the cover. Okay, so that's pretty much about how to add ROMs. And there are two systems that we have to be careful. First one, PlayStation 3. So when we go to emulated game at scanner, we use this one, right? RPCS3, and then default, and then we select PlayStation 3. That is the same, but for the folder, we have to be very specific because PS3 can only run with the eboot bin, which is located here, so you have to direct it to the eboot bin folder in order to make it run like this. And for WiiU as well, so here if you look at the installation, you see that I have directed to the folder where the specific file is installed. So here we go to emulated game again, add scanner, and then now we go to Simu and select the correct platform. So we go to scan folder. For example, we have here and here. So this is where the RPX file is located. RPX file is the one that we are going to run, and you have to direct Playnite to the correct folder where you have the RPX file, or otherwise you'll not be able to run the game directly from Playnite. So that's the idea. It doesn't matter. Well, most likely it will be inside the code folder, but it may not. So just find the correct folder and the correct file when you add the games. Okay, so adding Vita 3K is just like other non-Steam games. We pick up Vita 3K's shortcut and then drop it to Playnite, and then we can see Vita 3K, and then we can put it to the platform. I just put it in PC. If you don't want, you can also add your own thing. For example, PlayStation Vita, then save, you will be able to find it in the PlayStation Vita column here. So if you click it, you will get Vita 3K launched. Okay, so that's it for Vita 3K. Okay, next we are going to look at how to add non-Steam game with Steam controller layout to Playnite. First of all, of course, we have to add a non-Steam game from here. So you click browse, and then for example, you just pick a game here, you pick the exe file, and then here you go to select the exe file and add selected program. Okay, so now we should have that in our library. Okay, it's here. So it doesn't have the banner and whatsoever, but it's okay, we're not getting into here to launch it. So for management, remember we are talking about gaming handheld, so it already has its buttons. It is not necessary to do this adding the controller profile. However, if you are streaming from your device, or if you want to use an external controller, then you have to follow the step that I'm going to use. First of all, go to properties, you go to controller, you make sure that you enable Steam input. This is very important if you have to use external controller or if you have to stream your games, because sometimes the buttons on your PC handheld kind of interrupt, or to prevent you use other controller profile. So this is the only way to get away from that. Even if you just want to control even if you just want to sit on a couch using an external controller, I'm using AYANEO Air, and it will definitely prevent me from using my controller if that is a non-Steam game. So this is a very important step, enable Steam input, and then we click this little controller icon here. It will bring out the controller layout. So now I'm connecting my PS4 controller. You see there is one more controller here. It's actually not an extra controller, but it is DS4 Windows. So this is where you can connect your PS4 controller and confuse your computer and make your computer think that you have an extra Xbox controller. This is not necessary, but if you just want to play games easier, use an easier setup, or just use the profile for Xbox controllers, then it will be the thing. Okay, so here I have my PS4 controller, for example. You can click the layouts, you can download it. There are some templates you can click here. There are community layouts that you may be able to download, and you can also search for layouts for this game. This is from other people. So for example, I want this one, and then from your controller you can click X to apply layout. Okay, it's applied. If you don't like it, you can click edit layout and map all the buttons here. For example, here And it is very important that we do not forget to apply the layout, because if we don't do so, it will forget. Okay, so let's say we have already applied the layout, and then go to manage and then add desktop shortcut. By that, we will get a shortcut of that game with the Steam controller layout. Okay, so add desktop shortcut. Okay, now on my desktop, I have a shortcut with the Steam controller layout. So if I double click it, it will launch the game, but I'm not going to do so. Okay, so go back to Playnite, and then we can drop this shortcut. And now we can see that it links to the shortcut, the path where we have with Steam, and then it's not installed here. So it's not showing the installation, but this is showing the Steam shortcut. Okay, so now we can add the platform to PC, where you have other PC games located. PC. Okay, and that's it. Okay, so let's see if it comes with media data. Okay, so no. So we can go to add media and then find the cover image like this and this. And save. So there it is. This is how we add non-Steam game with Steam controller layout. Okay, so that's pretty much about what we have to do in desktop mode. Before switching to the full screen mode, there is one more thing we want to do. Go to settings and then launch in full screen mode. And make sure you have launched Playnite when you start your computer, because that's how you want the console experience. And once we have turned on our PC handheld, it will go into Playnite full screen mode directly. Okay, save. Okay, go to full screen mode. Okay, this is my full screen mode, but in order to get this, you see on the top we have different kind of banners that looks very cute. So how do we do that? First of all, we go to this hamburger menu on the right top corner. Go to settings. First of all, go to general. We can choose what to show in our menu here, and then go to visuals. We have to click the back button. Only controller work here, so go back. Okay, so the theme that I'm using is reskin PS5. Here is my settings. The button prompt is Xbox. You can change it to PlayStation, but I'm good with Xbox. Okay. The next one, audio. You can choose whether to have sound with the theme or not. Layout. Here is the layout for me. I use these two settings, and I choose 6 for columns, 1 for row, and item spacing is 28. This is how I set it up for my menu. And for menus, it just gives you some options that you may or may not want to use, so you can choose it accordingly. And for input, you can hide your mouse cursor, which I prefer to. And I think it would be better to unclick the primary controller only if you want to use an external controller and if you want to stream your game to another device. Okay. So now because I'm doing the tutorial, I will not hide my cursor. In order to have these columns, you have to add filters on your own. So when you click filter, there are many things coming out. First of all, click installed so that you can make sure the games are installed, and then click platform. Only select the platform that you want to add here. Currently we are at the DS tab, so we have Nintendo DS. And for example, I want to add PS Vita. So if I click the platform, it will show you all the things. So I want to select PlayStation Vita. So here comes the only one. So we go back by clicking platform. And then here we click the plus sign. PS Vita. Nothing changed. Let's delete Sony. Ta-da! So if you click if you enter PS Vita, it will give this one. But if you enter something differently, it will not show you the icon that you want. So I will put down the correct wording for the filter in my description box. You can check that. Okay, so that's pretty much about the setup. If you want to turn off your system, you can simply click the hamburger menu to exit Playnite or turn off system or restart system. So you don't really have to get out Playnite if you want to turn off your system. Okay, so that's pretty much about this tutorial. Thank you very much, and I will talk about more tips for using PC handhelds. See you, bye!